On this episode of Don't Involve Me, Jake does nothing for his cold open. Anyway, welcome to Don't Involve Me. We have a great show for you tonight. We got Michael Schumer here. We're doing our 2023 wrap-up show, and I ended up just making kind of like a award show type format where we just talk about the best games, best shows of 2023, and yeah, that's basically it. I had a cold open for you guys. I tried to do it, and I feel like I had to be excellent, so I'm going to work on it for season 2, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to sing for this award show. I'm going to put music, and yeah, it just got to a point where I just couldn't really do it, and either way, we had a great show. Check it out. What are the best games? What are the best movies of this year? Stay tuned. All right, let's get to it. Cue the music. Welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash, Ketchum's Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up. And welcome to a special episode of Don't Evolve Me. This is the last one of the year. Round of applause, everybody. Woo! And with us, yay! Ooh, I should do a category for this. Best guest this year, and the nominees are. Well, nominee number 1 for sure is Michael Schumer. Hello, welcome.
Woo-hoo! Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
You know, it's weird. I literally that thought just popped in my head. I haven't had the thought. I have no idea who I would even pick, nor would I even want to put that choice. Guest of the year.
It's a good time. It's always a good time being on Don't Involve Me.
It is, man. You're like the first person I thought of for this episode. So
Just honored.
I didn't know what to call this episode at first, because I wanted to. At first, I was like, it's going to be the 2023 wrap up, but I'm like, that's boring. Very boring.
The Nerdathon.
And then at first, I'm like, we could just call it the Demis.
But
here's the problem with that, though. It sounds cool, but we already have a name for the Demi, which is Don't Involve Me mini episode, and it's a little too on the nose.
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
I have it. So I just want to welcome everybody to the 2023 DEMAS. The DEMAS. The Don't Involve Me award show.
Woo, shit.
What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. It just means I'm picking what I think is the best of the year. It's our 2023 wrap up before we go on a little bit of a hiatus. So yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome Michael. So Michael's going to be our guest our host of sorts. Our nominee award winner, or nominee. It is late here on a Sunday night. I am ready for bed.
I feel you.
But no, Michael here is going to be announcing the awards, and I will be answering the question, who wins the awards for the DEMAS? And if Michael thinks I'm wrong, he's going to tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
And I've had a few other people on here for this episode. We're supposed to have Brandon, but he's a little too I don't even know if I want to say it. It was gonna be nice because I was like, I wanted to know like how much pushback I can get for some of these, and he was like the main one for like one particular category because I already ruined it, but yeah. Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah, we shall.
All right. Well, welcome, Michael. So for show me your socks, show me your wares, or tell me your socks, tell me your wares. Just switch it up for season 2.
I don't got much of socks or clothing, but I am looking at this baller little Spider-Man plushie I got like years ago. It fit the vibe when I was playing through the first one.
Nice.
And Miles Morales.
Nah. Oh, you played through Miles Morales and Spider
I
Man?
haven't beaten. I got it. I haven't played it in like 2-3 weeks now because I
Okay.
started playing Alan Wake 2, but I
Uh,
started going through that. That's a good game. We should talk about that. We don't have to
yeah,
sit
yeah,
on
yeah,
there,
yeah.
but I definitely think you would love it.
Okay.
Anyways, but no, it's I was got like halfway. I think I'm probably about halfway through the story. The thing
Of
is,
Spider Man or Miles Morales?
Miles Morales. I already beat the
Okay.
first Spider-Man. I didn't do
Nice.
any of the DLC. I was just like, I'll watch the video on it and I'll play
Hmm.
through Miles Morales. I've heard the second one's just so good. I haven't played it yet though, so I'm trying to like
Catch up for
catch
the
up.
second one.
Yeah, we've been eating as gamers this year. It's been probably one of the best years in gaming I can remember in a long time.
That is definitely a category for me. That's like I'm. It's hard for me to like really judge it,
Mm.
which is why I was hoping Brandon would be here to.
Oh, I can help, brother.
Oh, I know you can help. You can help. But I know between the three of you, we would have had it covered. But that's okay. We'll go through with the two of us. We got this.
Oh, yeah.
I got. So I have a rule where I don't buy myself stuff in December because I feel like when I buy myself things, people like I'm very open with like what I want for gifts. Like
Mm.
I'll just like, oh, that'd be cool, that'd be cool, that'd be cool. And the thing is, I don't even do it for like the purpose of like people will hear it. I'm just pretty open with like, oh, that'd be cool to have that, you know.
Mm.
But here's the thing, like if I'm really open, like one year I was really open on the Nerf swords that I have.
Mm.
Really, really open. It was like telling people like that's what I wanted. It was only $20 Nerf swords. I don't know why I didn't just buy it. Probably because I didn't have money. I was a college kid at the time. Um, but like one year, it was like the week before Christmas. Me and my friend TJ bought Nerf swords, and then me and my other friend Brian exchanged gifts, and we got each other Nerf swords. And then me and my girlfriend exchanged gifts, and she got me Nerf swords. So I got, and like each Nerf sword was like the
Dude, you
pair
can make the Iron Throne.
with six swords.
The
But like
wait,
each,
no, like CBT pipe and
that'd be cool.
yeah.
I ended up
Wow.
giving up one of my swords away, and actually that person gave it back. But I remember like giving like a pair of swords away because I had so many.
You're just like I literally.
But anyway, that's a side tangent of like I don't. That's the rule why I don't have a gift or I have no buying myself things. But I ended up buying myself a thing, and I got myself a Martian Manhunter Pop Funk.
Ooh,
It was
that's
for
a
like
vibe.
$3. It was like $3 on Target. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think anyone's gonna get this for me.
Yeah, that's an underrated DC hero. I haven't read much Martian Manhunter stuff, but he's a vibe.
He's a 5. What does that mean? All
I
right.
just like he's just like I love his character design.
I like Martian Manhunter. He's chill. He's logical, thought provoking. You know, he's like the member that like if every like all the temperatures are hot and heated, he's like the character that grounds you.
Yeah, yeah. This was his niece. Was she Miss Martian in the Young?
Oh,
in
yep,
Young
and
Justice?
Young Justice, yep.
Yeah, she was one of my favorite heroes too. So yeah, like from that show, I haven't seen it in
Oh
a
yeah,
long time, but from what I remember leaving off at, she was awesome.
she's one of the best characters. I think. Ooh, Young Justice would be a fun show to review once it like if it ever comes back. But that show also fell off a few ways.
I'm still waiting for the last season of Teen Titans, but I guess I'll just probably be dead before that ever happens.
Probably.
So sad.
All right. Hey, I got my Young Justice season 2 cliffhanger fulfilled. We got a season 4 cliffhanger, and that's probably where it's going to be left at. But you know what? I'm okay. We got one of the Teen Titan Young Justice shows answered.
Yep, man, I gotta
think
watch the last season that they did end up doing.
it's okay. That's about it. The animation, like the story is fine, but it definitely like dips a little bit. It's starting to dip.
Rip.
All right.
Rip.
What are you nerding out on? Last of 2023.
Let me think
What do you
here.
got? You already talked about it too. Alan Wake 2, Spider
Oh
Man.
god, that game is so good, dude. That
Alan
game.
Wake.
It's like, have you ever watched Twin Peaks?
Mm-mm.
It's just a very
It's
cerebral
surreal.
game.
Yeah, surreal,
And
right?
like, yeah, very surreal and cerebral, and like you're constantly kind of guessing. Like the first one was really cool and out there, but they came out like 13 years ago, so it's kind of now. But this one just takes it to a whole nother level. But
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I've started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time ever.
Right.
Uh,
Really?
yeah, on my
Ooh,
Steam Deck.
Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a good. At first, I didn't really get it, but like now, I kind of. I don't know if like that makes like I was like, what do I do? And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just
No,
be a
I get that.
cowboy.
No, I really get that with when it comes to video games. It's like sometimes it takes you a while to get into the game and kind of get adjusted, especially if you're I feel this because maybe it's because neurodivergent,
Mhm.
ADHD, and you're very much in the same track of that too. Like, I think maybe that's because I feel that for Baldur's Gate 3, which we'll talk about later on.
I need to play that
Um,
game still.
that's a game that like I know it's good, but I'm having a hard time getting locked in. You
Yeah, that's
know?
when you do though. That's what like what's kind of fun about those games though. Is like you'll be like, I don't know what to do. You just kind of keep pressing through long enough,
Mhm,
and you figure it out. I think the thing that's tough is like game design wise. For I'm gonna nerd out on this if I got a few
yeah.
minutes of a platform here. Game design wise, it's so interesting to compare something like Red Dead 2 and Tears of the
Hmm.
Kingdom. It'd probably be more appropriate to compare it to Breath of the Wild, but I'm gonna say Tears because like Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom, just because of the visuals of it, you know
Hmm.
what to do. You're like, okay, there's a giant glowing tower there. Let me
Yep.
go check that out.
Hmm.
But Red Dead 2 is a lot more. It's more realistic, so it's like more subtle and like oh, there's a
Hmm.
campfire raising. It's like oh, I should probably go check that out now. Like I didn't really catch some of that stuff at first, but now I have been.
Or like Naughty Dog does a really good job of it. Like where you're supposed to climb, they'll like paint it bright yellow,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
they will like and over time they'll flat out just tell you where to go. But through like just the colors, you can figure out where to go. And it's very subtle. You don't notice it, but your brain will pick up on it. Like, oh, you'll figure out where to go. And you won't even like, you'll just subconsciously figure it out. But
Yep.
if you look for it, you're like, oh man,
Yeah, it's
this looks
crazy. I remember the
interesting.
first time I played, the second time I played The Last of Us. That's when I noticed it, like in video games. Period.
Same.
I think that was like 2014 or whatever. But it's so funny because what you said there, some I guess is like there's in the gamer sphere, so to speak,
Hmm.
there's like a debate on that. Like some people hate that. Like they're like, oh, it's so lazy. Like you can tell like it's bad design if you have these colors. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And it's
Like
not,
it's so like I guess there are times where it is pretty egregious where it's like okay, it's like a sheer rock face with yellow painted on it. It's like okay,
yeah.
I can get that, but also like
Hmm.
you need your player's eyes to be driven someplace, and a bright color like yellow, orange, or red would work best for that.
Well, you
So
also have to like know your audience too. Like, who
yeah,
you're making the game for. Are you making the game for some nerd in his mom's basement that like does nothing but play games and is looking for the most realistic like simulation possible? Then
hmm
yeah, like that type of like design isn't great, but like most game developers do it for getting casual audiences involved,
hmm
and a lot of people need help. And like, and I'm not even saying it like as a people are dumb, but like
yeah,
sometimes you need to point people in the right direction, and there's an art to it.
hmm
Um,
hmm
there you could very much go the Pokemon Sword and Shield way of design, where it's you're essentially just going through a giant hallway and people are literally holding your hand the entire ride. Or you can do it. I'm trying to think of another game that's simply just or Breath of the Wild, right?
yep,
You just get thrown in, and by like just doing things, you slow in engaging with the world, you slowly learn how to engage with your environment, and you like kind of just learn what to do, where to go, where's the danger at. You learn through playing. Breath of the
agree.
Wild is fucking amazing in how it goes about it. Pokemon is very much like, hey, we know kids play this game. Here, let me hold your hand as
The
you
thing that's
become the
frustrating
greatest.
about that is like kids aren't that dumb.
No,
Like
they're
no,
not.
like not even like a small child isn't that dumb. It just takes them a little bit to understand the concept. But like you've seen, like everybody's seen those crazy videos of like some 10-year-old on
Oh,
Minecraft
dude.
making like the fucking Mona Lisa out of blocks, and then be like, oh, and then
Here's
I
the.
programmed redstone in it, so it turns into the Starry Night portrait too if you hit this
Mhm.
button. And you're like, what the fuck?
Well, here's the thing: if a 9-year-old challenges you to a video game, you're getting your ass kicked.
Oh, most likely.
Yeah, and like,
If not, you're gonna have a really good time and just school somebody. But
but no, you're getting your ass kicked. And I'm like, I've learned this growing up and not having time to play video games. Like a kid would be like, "Oh, hey, I'll challenge you," and I'm like, ha 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 ha, ha. And then I'll like be humbly, served and get my ass kicked. And it's just because like kids' reaction time is a lot faster. They have a lot more time to play and practice. And once you get like 8, 9 years old, you like learn how to get really good at the game. Now my son Scott, he's 4 years old. He's still very much learning and he's getting there.
yeah, but then you're gonna wake up in like 2 days and he's gonna start mastering this stuff, and he's like, "Dad, this is super easy.
Oh man.
Just do like this little thing," and you're gonna be looking at him like he's speaking Chinese.
Just as you'll know this once you become a father, Michael. Like kids in general, like as a parent, you start to like there's a point in time where your kid will just slowly start learning things at a quick, rapid pace. Where you're just like, "Holy, wait, what? You know how to do that?"
That's
It's
wild.
oh yeah, and I experience every day with with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So, all right, what are you nerding out on? I'll talk a little bit. Mine's kind of the same.
Yeah,
Mostly watching One Piece.
I haven't
Guess
seen it yet.
guess what episode I'm on?
How many are there total?
Like 1,050.
Oh, not the live
The
action.
anime. The
Okay,
anime.
okay, okay. Ooh, I'm gonna guess 500 or about 500.
We started in September. Me and Sapphire.
Oh, so it gotta be like 800 now then, right?
Oh God,
No,
man, you are like overshooting this. How much
way
of
overshooting. Well, I don't. I'm just trying. Like, I can't. I guess I don't know how much on average you're watching, but you just made it sound like it was a super high number. So I was like, okay,
Well, it is a high number, but
three
God
through.
damn,
Okay, I guess that's a lot of time. Okay, let's guess
800
200.
episodes.
Okay, I'm gonna go way. I'm gonna way opposite. I'm like 253.
That's like actually very close. I think we're on 267.
Okay.
We are officially at Ennie's Island, or Ennie. I might be saying it wrong. And this is one of the more famous arcs. This is like the first like great arcs of One Piece. I know Alabasta some will put in there. Um, all I'm gonna say is like I went on this ride. It's been a couple months now, 3 months now, a few months now. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's so
Okay.
good. Like I never know how the heroes are gonna overcome the villains. And there's so many times where I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. And I know it's gonna work out because I know there's like 1,000 more episodes to watch. But like it makes me feel like it's not gonna work out. And then
It's
the characters will overcome the villain or overcome the obstacle in just like weirdly creative ways. And it's so refreshing to watch.
interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. It interests me to watch something that long, but I don't know if I'd be able to commit to it for the full run.
I didn't know, and I just started because like I watched the live action, and we'll talk about the live action. But I started the live action, or I
Mhm.
started did the live action. I was like, this is great. What just wanted to watch and catch up to the
Mhm.
first season, and it was about 50 episodes to catch up to the first season. And so I watched 50 episodes, and I'm like, man, I really want to know what's more. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch for season 2. And
Mhm.
then it just kept getting better and better and better, and I just couldn't stop. And that's all two people wanted to watch. Me and Sapphire wanted to watch this One Piece.
Damn.
Couple others. Started up Minecraft again, survival.
Ooh.
New world, full survival. It's compared to like where I was like the first time we played our first like survival. we're so far advanced. Like I remember the first time we played the first day, we were like, what do we do? And now it's like we have a fort built. We already know. Like, it's interesting.
I know what you mean. You kind of like once you like go through something, especially with the game, like then it's just like the old muscle memory just comes flying back and like all that memory. Like even if you don't remember exactly, you have enough of it cursory knowledge. Like,
You know what to do.
So, yeah,
we knew what to do, and so like we played it, and now we're like, now what? Now it's just like what we did before, because we already like survived. So it's fun. I enjoy Minecraft for the simplicity of it. I don't get why people hate on it.
I don't either. The only thing I do think kind of frustrates me is like it's not a bad frustration. Like it's just like makes me feel old. Is like I remember playing that game when it was in beta, and the big update at the time was that they added the Nether, and this is like
yeah,
like 15, no, not 15, like 13 years ago, I would say.
Yep.
Because I remember being like, "This is so crazy! Holy
Did it
crap!"
come out when we were in high school?
Yeah, it would have came out like tail end of you being in high school.
Mm-hmm. It's old.
Be early high school, yeah.
And like kids love it, and it's like
that's so cool to me though. Like
it's
your
Legos.
son likes a game that I played when I was a teenager. That's cool. There's like it's like the great unifier. It
is. Same with like Pokemon too. Now with my kids being really into it. Like I walked in today, Scott, he's like, I'm playing a Pokemon battle. I'm like, all right, who are you fighting? Like, I'm fighting Ash. I'm like, cool. Who are you? I'm May. I'm using Munchlax. I'm like,
okay.
Dope. One thing I wrote on here, the one thing I'm going to nerd out on, that I plan on nerding out on, which I should have a couple months ago, but we decided to get it as a family Christmas gift because Scott's going to love it. Mario Wonder.
Oh, yeah, Haley and I have been playing that.
Yeah, so we're going to play it. That's what we're nerd on. I'll give my review when we come back, but we got to get into a news quickie.
It's time for a news quickie. Oh, yeah.
All right, first up, Sean Gunn, James Gunn brother, who just announced that Sean Gunn, his brother, is going to be playing Maxwell Lord in the new DCU.
Ooh.
Famously played by Pedro Pascal in Wonder Woman 1984. It was very surprising because Sean Gunn already plays Weasel in Suicide Squad, but it's motion captured. Or maybe he doesn't. I know one of his brothers plays. I thought it was Sean Gunn, but I know he does the motion picture.
Oh, he was in
Rocket.
He's in Guardians.
Yeah, Sean Gunn. He plays Yondu's like successor.
Yeah, I never remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna play Maxwell Lord, which I thought was an interesting choice. And like, I feel it was a weird announcement, like where he's gonna be playing Maxwell Lord. It's like, oh, okay. I don't see it, but like Maxwell Lord is such a like he isn't like a big villain, but he's like a well-used villain. Like he's like a lesser of Lex Luthor. Like he has the capability of being a big villain, but he can also be just like kind of like a standby villain too.
For sure, I get you.
So
I'm kind of curious how James Gunn is going to run the DCU. We'll find out. Sorry, continue though.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it. A lot of people, there's a lot of like criticisms on James Gunn, like, oh, it's ruined. I'm like, man, it hasn't even fucking started.
Yeah, I don't want to be a dick with this, but I don't think it can get much worse, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I don't know. He took over. DC's like transition was just god awful. But like, how do I put it? If in terms of like sports, it's like firing the coach in like the worst possible way, but then hiring the exact perfect right coach. And it's just like you have the perfect coach mid-season, and it's like it's awkward, it's weird, it's not working, the team's failing. It's like, well, the guy just got here. Yeah, like I'm not gonna blame him for Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, or Aquaman this year. Like
Mm-mm.
Those movies were made. They're part of a whole new universe. Like, I'm not judging James Gunn's tenure as the DCU guy until his next, like, Creatures Commando come out.
Okay, I do think, and I won't go super into this because we got a couple of the news points to hit, but
Yep.
I do kind of wonder if superhero fatigue is becoming a thing because I feel like there hasn't been very many hitters.
Oh, yeah. I've touched upon this topic several times this year. I'm feeling it. I know the 2 episodes ago I did my first like solo big episode where it was almost 2 hours, and it was a catch up episode, and I explained why I didn't do a lot of these like Marvel projects. Like I didn't do the Marvels like right away. I didn't do I didn't do Loki season 2 right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of explained like I'm tired of being let down. Like I'm excited for Gen V. I'm excited for Invincible, but I'm not excited for Marvel right now. And it saddens me to say that. But it is the point that we're at.
They just don't. I think it really did. I know some people say this is overly cynical or stupid to say, but I do kind of feel like Endgame was. They should have just ended it there for a few. Yeah, it was the Endgame. Maybe Spider-Man No Way Home is like kind of the capstone. Like, hey, and then give it a few years. Take your time. Go back to the drawing boards. Give people some time away. And like the problem is like Disney will say we can't do that because we have the merchandise and blah blah blah. It's like,
well, they tripled down when they should have just took a break.
Yes, they had that would have been the perfect excuse for people to be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna move on to some other stuff. Like, you don't have any of these you shouldn't have any contracts with anybody, so you can kind of just say like, hey, we're gonna take a break, and then if you need to recast, it's like, okay, cool. Then you can multiverse it up. Boom.
Or like keep it small. Stick with like the big heroes and build up the next big event in a slow manner that was similar to phase 1, phase 2.
I think it's just almost instantly we're like multiverse. Right.
Well, they're not instantly because we forget COVID was a thing.
Yeah.
And COVID fucked up a lot of their plans. And like I'm curious to see like in a multiverse where it didn't happen, and like they actually like took the time and had the people to like sit down and actually like connect these shows in a very smart way that like, because there's a way that you can do it where you can triple down and triple like the amount of product and still maintain the amount of quality that they had. There's a way to do it, but they very much spread themselves thin.
Yeah.
And I think the Disney Plus was very much like the first. I feel like Disney Plus was a bad move on their end.
Yeah, no, it was not a good idea.
All right. Anyway, this news quickie is turning into a news longie. Spider-Man 2 wins no Game Awards.
Haven't played it. Can't speak much to it. I don't think that's a bash on Spider-Man 2. I think it's a commentary on like
how good some of these games are.
There are some games out there. Any other year, Spider-Man 2 probably would have at least won 2 or 3 solid.
Yeah.
But I think they had the competition. I mean, they literally were up against Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom.
And Alan Wake 2.
And Alan Wake 2, which definitely was like a critic's darling. I loved it too, but that's just
on top of like Diablo 4, and there was like one other one that like also had some.
Oh, there's been some. Well, Final Fantasy 16 did pretty good. It won a couple awards. Alan Wake 2 was good. Baldur's Gate 3 was good. Cyberpunk, the new DLC, is apparently really, really good. I still feel burned by the original release on that, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah. Speaking of video games,
yeah, there's just a lot of tough competition. Go ahead.
GTA 6 just released a trailer after a bunch of leaks. Did you watch the trailer?
Okay, yes. I've been following the GTA 6 since the leaks came out last year. So what's crazy is we knew about like the I forget her name, but the Latina main character. We knew about her, and I think we knew about her partner as early as last year. Some dude like hacked into Rockstar's equipment and then leaked a bunch of gameplay footage, etc., etc. But this is last year. What blows my mind, and I'm not dissing on it because would rather them take their time and release it in a quality state.
Yep.
and not have it be garbage. But I am kind of surprised that it's coming out 2025 because from what I saw for the footage, it didn't look like a super early build. It looked like they've been working on it for a while. So I'm either thinking they've been polishing like really like crazy, and this is going to be a really dense game, so they want it to be as good as possible, which I'm okay with. It just kind of sucks because like the trailer looks so good.
It looks
like,
amazing.
It like did you? I guess I don't know if you caught this, but a bunch of like the stuff of like random NPCs doing stuff is actually like TikToks or videos from Florida that they were just like, hey, let's put this in the game, which I think is just awesome. They're like, yeah, let's make this shit as authentic.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw the TikTok explaining the video.
Yeah.
So no, and I saw the leaked map too for the game. It's huge. It looks like it just looks like Southern Florida. Like I'm pretty sure they have Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg in there too. So I could be wrong. They also have Key Point. It could be a false map too, but it looks legit. So I'm excited for it. GTA was always the game that like Vice City, I feel, is like the first time I really fell in. GTA 3 I fell in love with just because I was a kid who loved cars. You know, just like, you know, every little boy is like, cars, let me drive. I ran over that person. That's funny. But like GTA, like Vice City is like the first game that like I played a lot. Like a lot of memories. Same with San Andreas. So it's cool that we're going back to Vice City. I'm excited for it. So we have two.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say
we have two more bits of news, and we should really get into the reward show.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Rebel Moon. This came out, directed by Zack Snyder, and reviews on it is mixed.
Okay,
and I didn't watch it.
Like his answer to Star Wars kind of thing.
It's his version of Star Wars. And I keep reading articles like these are the rules of Star Wars that he broke. And like I don't really wanted to bring it up for like news for the simple fact that like I feel like Zack Snyder gets a hard on for like deconstructing famous characters or like famous property. Like I feel like he looks at like with like Superman, he's like, Superman, Man of Steel. How can I make him edgy? You know? Or like Batman. Man, what if he was just like a crazier vigilante where he burned his victims and killed them?
Jesus. I didn't realize that he did that in the DCU films. Or are you just giving an example here and I'm just butchering?
I'm just going on like because like I just remember seeing an article and he's like, oh yeah, these are the rules of Star Wars I wanted to break. It's like, but dude, like you don't break the rules. Like that's defeats the purpose of like, you know, like if you're gonna do a Star Wars movie, play within the rules of the universe. Don't break the rules. Don't deconstruct Star Wars.
Is it supposed to be like? Is it? I guess I don't know. Does he mean like the rules, like in the sense of like it has to be a young, like basically like a Skywalker, and it has to like you know? I think that would be interesting to see because I think we got that too much with the sequel trilogy.
I don't know much more. I just want to go on the tangent of Zack Snyder, his whole like philosophy of like characters. It's like it's fine if you want to do like parody. I think you know, like when you take a similar setup and then you take that setup and it's like, hey, I'm doing Star Wars, but it's my own version of Star Wars, and it's like how I would do it. You know, perfectly fine with that. And like Rebel Moon, I have no problems with him making Rebel Moon. My problem is like if he like, goes and takes Superman and does it with like the actual character. That's like my whole, because he wanted to make a Star Wars film and he got rejected. So which is why he made this movie in his own. Yeah, and he had to make some changes to fit. The last bit of news. Elon, it seems like we're at the end of Twitter or X or whatever it is now with Elon Musk. And you brought this up because you want to touch on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Elon's like lost the plot. Like I think he realized that he got into way too deep with this. And like, well, there's just been so many things. I think he's went from kind of being like the darling of the internet and like pop culture. People are like, oh, Elon Musk, he's so cool, to being kind of like, it's definitely the tides have changed on him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
definitely forced the tide where he's trying to like lean into a demographic that he feels will be more
Like,
profitable to him, but it's just kind of
the cool thing about Elon was like he was like this rich guy who took over a lot of like successful business ventures, but we didn't know much about him. Like there's a lot of like talks of like, oh, he's a lizard, or no, he's an alien, oh, he's from the future, because of like all these things. And there was like mystery about him.
Yep.
And I feel like the internet, like he's been this like icon, this mysterious icon. He's like, oh, he's this genius. But now he's like coming out of the light a little bit, and we're starting to see like who he is exactly. And it's kind of just disappointing. You know, he's taking more of that, like instead of that money backer for like role, he's becoming more of that I'm gonna run or take over Twitter and run it, and realizing that like that's not his skill set. And so he has this like he had this like persona of being this like mysterious genius, to now he comes off as a laughable fool.
Yep, 100%.
And I have no idea if he is or he isn't. I know someone who met him personally, and he adores him. Like, I don't know, but that's like how the internet is such a weird like take and twist. But yeah, him buying Twitter was, yeah, not a great move for I think most of the world. I would say, yeah. I don't know. Outside of Meta, I don't know who gains from Twitter falling.
I think we lose, honestly, in a lot of ways. But it's also like it just is not a sustainable platform. Like, so
I feel like Twitter should almost just be free at this point. Like it just yeah, we're going way into politics here.
Yeah.
We can move on. We can start our own political show. We can just go on tangents. So, all right, Michael, do you want to take it away?
Sure thing. You want me to just hit through the different topics
Yep.
or
You want to just hit the topic and then go through the nominees? We don't. Yeah, let's just do that.
All right. And the first category on tonight's DEMAS is Best Nerd Movie. Tonight's candidates are Super Mario Brothers, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Across the Spider-Verse, Dungeons and Dragons,
Okay.
Honor Among Thieves, and The Flash. And the winner is
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That is an interesting take. Actually, let me mellow. I want to hear your reasonings, because I do have a possible counter take, but go for it.
So here's why I think Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the best movie of 2023. Best nerd movie. And the reason why is because this movie is elite. Is a 5 out of 5 in the DEM scale. In pretty much every category you can possibly think of in a movie. Like, the soundtrack is amazing. The art is amazing. The fact that like every dimension, every multiverse that we see has a different art style to it. And then every character from that universe has a distinct art style that blends into the environment it's in. The fact that the acting is top notch. The multiverse Easter eggs isn't like in your face, but yet we're like, you pause a screen and you can see 10 of them at a time. It uses its biggest weakness, its biggest con, is the fact that it doesn't have an ending.
That's true. Okay.
And that's it. And like, I can't fault it for that, because that's the whole point. It's a part 1 of part 2. And this movie might, if like part 2 bombs, this movie loses. But I don't know. There's only one other movie I considered for this award.
Well, which one would that be?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay, that's what so I'll agree.
Yeah.
That was literally, those were the two toss-ups out of the two on there. I would say honorable mention to Super Mario Brothers, not because it's an astounding film, but because it's an astounding love letter to a franchise that almost
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
has grown up with. Like you watch
Oh,
that
yeah.
film and you get chills from like the music motifs,
Mhm.
like it's not like it's not you're not gonna be watching it having a like teary eyed, like, oh, that's so beautiful and moving. But you might be teary eyed, be like, oh, like you just feel like a kid again, like firing up the old SNES and like playing some Super Mario Brothers 3. Like it's just, oh, it hits.
It, it hits. I wish there was a little bit more depth. It's very like,
Yeah, it's a
it's
little
very,
too one dimensional, I think.
it feels like,
Yeah.
maybe not Super Mario Wonder, but it feels like the new Super Mario Bros. Game. Like, it's good. It's great. You know, you play it once, you're like, the nostalgia's hitting hard. But after that, it's an okay movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd get an honorable mention for like the aesthetics. Like I will say, I agree with you in terms of like Across the Spider-Verse. I really wish it hadn't ended on that. I'm not gonna say anything to the audience because I don't know who. It's a new enough movie that I don't want to spoil it. But like the cliffhanger ending, it's a great film in and of itself, and I'm not worried at all about a Beyond Spider-Verse.
I'm not either.
I think they've
I'm
shown
not
a clear understanding of like understanding Spider-Man as like an archetype of sorts. Also, I did have a question for you about comic books related to that, but we'll save that for later. And Guardians Guardians 3 was really good too, though. Like that's where it is really good. But I agree. I think it's just missing just enough.
I kind of want to touch upon each movie. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. Great, but it's very shallow.
Yep.
Once you get past the nostalgia, it's not a great movie. It's a good movie, but it's not a great movie. The nostalgia trip, the experience is great the first time you see it, but after that, it kind of falls.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the only other movie I considered because it's a 4+, 5- for me. The story is great. Guardians of the Galaxy is what I needed from Marvel.
Yeah,
because it's just so character driven. It's not about the plot. It's not about saving the galaxy. It's about the characters of the Guardians and kind of giving an ending to them without necessarily like ending them. And it's surprising. It's shocking. And there's scenes that's like, oh man, like it makes you feel.
We get teary-eyed thinking about a couple of scenes. The last,
it makes you feel. And there's some really cool action scenes. So like it's Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is deserving of best nerd movie, but Across the Spider-Verse is like there was a post that said name a new movie that's an immediate classic. And I'm like, Across the Spider-Verse. Like this, it's a masterpiece. Like this is a masterpiece.
It does
like
go ahead.
And like I feel bad for like all the people who had to work on this and like had to work through terrible work conditions. Like I feel bad for that, and like it shed some negative light on the movie. But my God, it is a masterpiece. Yeah. Not sure if it's worth it, but it was great. Yeah. The other two movies, Dungeons and Dragons, deserves an honorable mention because like that movie's just fun. It's a fun movie. You play, you should. It's fun. It's there's a lot of references. If you don't play D&D, there's a lot of references you won't get, but I think like you'll know it's a reference, and I think you'll appreciate for the reference that it is.
Okay.
And Flash, I'm a little bit higher on the Flash than I am pretty much everybody. I've seen this on the list of like one of the worst movies of 2023. I think it's a good superhero movie that like it just gets worse by the time you like. It gets worse as the movie goes on. It just becomes a kind of a jumbled mess. But I will say Ezra Miller is honestly really good in this movie to the point where I'm like, I don't want him canceled, but like he's deserving of being canceled. But also like he's really good at what he does. So it's a weird like
there's that weird thing of like artists, like a good artist is not somebody that's known for being like emotionally stable and like
yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's a great artist, but like I don't know if I want to hang out with him.
No, yeah, and like I like it's tough because like especially with him, some of the crimes he's been committed of, I'm like, if that's true, then send him to the fucking clinker. I don't really care, but it definitely. But I know what you mean by like it's interesting because it really does make you like when you see a good actor, artist, whatever perform, you're like, then you'll see them do some questionable shit, and you're like, but they're so good at that one thing.
He had a scene at the end of the movie, like the whole end of the movie was like, it was some really bad CGI, some really bad moments.
Mhm.
But then he had a moment where like he was saying goodbye to his mom for the last time. And the whole movie's about him trying to save his mom, and he like said goodbye to his mom. And like I started crying. Not because like it was over like it was sad, but like Ezra's like his performance, his face, like just the way he did that scene made me tear up. And it was weird because I'm like, man, I don't like you as an actor, but this is beautiful, man. Like it's
Yeah.
good. All right, can we carry on?
Yep, we shall. Next topic or next
Just read the top
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
I know I listed like 8 of them.
Best Nerd TV Show. And the nominees tonight are The Last of Us, Invincible, Gen V, Twisted Metal, One Piece, Ahsoka, Secret Invasion, Loki. And the winner
right
is
This one was kind of hard, but I think there's only one right answer here, and that is The Last of Us.
Yeah, if you said anything else, I would have slapped you upside the head. I don't care what anybody says. That show is one of like it's just a great show. Like the only thing I would give it knocks for is what the main criticism is. There's not enough clickers. I need more clickers.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than
There
that,
wasn't enough of it. There wasn't enough of it.
like we've talked about this. I love how this show comes up every time we pod. But it's just one of those shows and media that I really do believe it surpasses like it started off as a video game and it's the story can't be contained to just that. Like it needs people need to watch it and it has such an important message for us. It's like I don't know. I don't care if people can play just a video game and point out that maybe it is overly simple, but it's a beautiful show and game and story.
It's such a beautiful story that like it was like when it came out, I was like, man, this just needs to be a TV show because that's what like it feels like. Even though like you play it, it is very much a game, but like the emotions that you feel from it very much feels like one of the greatest TV shows you feel. Like like it's emotions that you think you would feel from a TV show, not a game. And there is arguments that this is the greatest story of all time. Not just video games, like just out there. So I'm happy that it got to translate to TV, and I'm happy that they got somebody to do it well. Yep. And not just they got someone to do it well, they got somebody to do it with respect. The game writer.
Yeah, and the game writer. Yep.
And then everything they added to it was for the purpose of making a better TV show. And I think they accomplished that very, very well. So there's a few other that I considered. I'll just go through the list and kind of talk about each one of them a little bit. Invincible season 2. I just put on there because I fucking love Invincible. I don't think what we've seen from season 2 is deserving of this category. I think maybe next year, depending on how season 2 ties up, since it's only been part 1 so far, we might be seeing this show in the 2024. At least for maybe nominees. We'll see. Gen V is one that I considered for this because Gen V just generally is a really good TV show. And it's a spinoff of The Boys, but it's not a good like spinoff for The Boys. I feel like if you're going to watch Gen V, you should also watch The Boys because that's kind of the purpose of Gen V. But it is very good on its own. Twisted Metal, I put on there. It's a fun ride. It was just a fun show. It was a fun surprise. One Piece is just fucking amazing. It was fascinating. And then Ahsoka, Secret Invasion, Loki, all Disney Plus products. They're fine, but they're not the best nerd TV show. And the other one that I feel like should be nominated is The Mandalorian. I forgot to write it on there. Good, but not worthy of greatest. The only right answer here is The Last of Us.
Okay, hell yeah. Pedro Pascal, man, he's just he's the internet's daddy still.
Hey, did you hear about the news that he might be cast as Reed Richards?
Oh, I did hear about that. I am kind of sad it's not going to be Krasinski, but I understand.
Yeah, or Adam Driver or The guy from It's Always Sunny from Philadelphia.
Wait, which guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I forget. I don't know. I don't watch that show. It's supposed to be inspired by that show.
Interesting.
It's supposed to be like that show is supposed to influence. All right, should we move on to the next one?
Hell yeah. Yep.
All right.
Oh, might be where we have some. You have some games on here on this. You have games. You don't even have some games on this list that deserve to be on this list.
Oh, please put them on there.
Well, it won't, it won't. Can you even see the edits I make? I don't know if you can.
Just put it on there and then just list them.
I'm gonna just put this. I'll put this one, and I don't care if people say I'm just a fanboy.
Just put it on.
Yep. Okay, I can't actually give that one in. I'm just adding one game.
You don't have to type it. Just put it in the.
Yeah. I'm dumb. All right, I'm out. Whatever. All right,
like you're not gonna see it. Like I'm gonna hear it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not gonna select it. Maybe go out of order a little bit so like people don't know which ones you added in.
All right.
I don't know.
Best video game of 2023. Tonight's nominees: The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Cue theme music right here. Anyways, Spider-Man 2, Hogwarts. The Legacy of Hogwarts. You put Harry Potter on here. I'm going to correct that. Alan Wake 2.
Okay.
Baldur's Gate 3. And the winner is...
There's going to be some controversy on this one, but I'm going to call it Legends of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
I don't think that's that controversial of a take. That game is still really solid, and it does... So I think it depends on what you're looking for. So see, that's where it's so hard to say best game of the year. It's like, well, what kind of gamer are you? Because there's 80 different really good games that came out, and no matter what, you're feasting. So like, pick your poison.
And here's the thing: you can't play all video games. I think you probably could, but like
you'd have to know life to do that. So.
I have a life. I have kids. I have a job. I know that in the summer I was healing, and the game that I played the most was Tears of the Kingdom. And here's the thing, like I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I've watched some game throughs. It looks great. I'm excited to play it when it comes out for PC or whenever I can get a PS5. Hogwarts Legacy looks fun for a Harry Potter fan. Alan Wake 2 looks good. Baldur's Gate 3 I have dabbled with. And honestly, if someone wants to argue with me that Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game of the year, you know what? I see the potential there. I want to play that game. I want to get into it. It's a hard game for me to get into. It's so different than what I'm used to. But for me, my answer for this award has to be Legend of Zelda, because that's the game that I got hooked on.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to you, by the way. Thank you for getting that game for me when I was in the hospital. That was like once I got into it, that's all I did.
Yeah.
So like Baldur's Gate 3 I think is winning most of the game awards for like best game, right? If I am seeing things correctly, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is winning most of the awards. Am I correct? Michael? Oh no. Michael has disappeared. I cannot hear him. I am all alone in this podcast.
Oh, wait.
What do we do? Oh.
Now I have you. Sorry about that.
I know. I was like, I have to go on a monologue? Shit, I'm not prepared.
All right, anyways.
Oh, yeah. I was just talking like Tears of the Kingdom it's such a like Breath of the Wild is like one of the best games of the year when it came out in 2016. And it's one of those games that like it was such a fresh breath air. It was such yeah, I know, pun intended. Like it was like one of those games that's like here, open world, figure it out.
But truly open world, like, hey, that tree, you can cut it down.
Yeah, it's truly open world. And Tears of the Kingdom just took the same game and just made it better. And not necessarily better that it needed to be better, but more in depth.
That's probably the best part about it, truly, is like Like that game does a lot of what I've had issues with open world games, with like the cave systems and shit. You're like, wow, feels like a world. It's not just a flat plane with built. Like that is one thing I will nail Spider-Man on. I haven't put the second one, but it's just a bunch of buildings. You can't go inside them. You can't. You can swing on them. You can crawl on them. You can't interact with them in any really meaningful ways.
It's like GTA 5. One of the games. It's like one of the best open world games at that point in time. Still is one of the greatest open world games. But it's not like you can go into every building and like take the buildings and design different like you can't, like your interaction is limited. And you know, Zelda's similar, but like it's more open. You can design, just say I don't know. Like it's one of those, like, yeah, you can cut down a tree, you can interact with your environment. It is truly open world. I just like Tears of the Kingdom because it added depths, it added sky islands, it added caves, and it added like a sense of time to have, like, it's not like it's the same world, but it's not the same world.
Yeah. That's
like
one thing that's one criticism I did have, is like some stuff made sense for it to be like characters that shouldn't remember you do, and then vice versa. Like that was one criticism it would make, but you can't get it perfect for any game.
Yep. All right. Moving on.
All right. Oh, I would say I'm going to interject real quick before we go on to the next show. Alan Wake 2, I would say if you played it, it might be up there for you, just because narratively, it's a damn good. Like I don't usually play a lot of horror games, but it's a good horror game. Like you are on the edge of your seat, and it's not that scary, but it has that tension and that feeling of momentum. And there's some really cool stuff with the main character using his ability of writing to change reality. So he'll go into a room and say, this is a murder scene. And that changes it like on the fly to like, it's just super cool from that perspective. I think you would really appreciate it.
I think so. Then there's probably a lot of games that are deserving. I think just for the game that I played, it's Tears of the Kingdom. But Alan Wake 2, I am excited to dive into.
It's a good one. All right, next category, my friend.
Yep.
Best new. Wait, I'm surprised you don't have. Okay, whatever. Best new nerd TV show.
You can add it when you suck.
Nominees tonight include Gen V, Twisted Metal, One Piece.
Yep.
The Last of Us.
Oh,
I feel like would technically be.
I didn't think of that show. You know what? For the sake of diversity, I'm not going to choose Last of Us.
Okay.
Though technically it would probably fit. I'm going to say I almost said the wrong show. One Piece.
Okay. Explain your reasoning, good sir.
Okay, so Gen V, very deserving, is now the show I was thinking about it, or I was thinking about saying. Last of Us is also probably the right show for this award. But I also really wanted to talk about One Piece. And the fact that like it got so many people into the anime itself, and definitely opened up my category for shows to watch and put me on an adventure that I love to. Like, One Piece was one of those shows that I watched a trailer for. I'm like, this doesn't look great, but also looks interesting. And then I watched it, not expecting much out of it, and absolutely falling in love with this world. And like the anime and the TV show are like slightly different, but like the one thing about this show, the live action show, it very much respects the anime and tries to capture the same sense of cartoonery, whimsical, light-hearted style that the anime had, but like in its own way. And the character who plays Monkey D. Luffy, who is he's very similar. There's like a term for it. I think shogun protagonist. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, shonen.
Shonen, yep. He's very much like the shonen protagonist, where, you know, he's like Goku, where he's like, oh, he's up there. He's not always the brightest. He kind of just dives in, but he's like the hero. They did that for the live action, but like the actor did it in a very different, nuanced way that is inspiring. Like it's just fun to watch.
Okay.
And honestly, I just wanted to talk about this show because I think it's very much like it's great. It was a fresher breath of air, which is why new nerd show, One Piece. But I will say, Gen V very much deserves love. Twisted Metal very much deserves love because both of those are great shows. Last of Us is also probably deserving of this award. But I don't want to sit up here and be like, Last of Us, Last of Us, Last of Us, because that's just boring.
That is boring.
All right.
All right, wait. Do you want me to do the next two categories, or which?
You could do the next category unless you have more to say about new nerd show.
No, I think that's a solid point. I haven't yet to watch it, but you have me intrigued, and another friend of mine has also been trying to get me to watch it. So
it's 8 episodes.
Yeah,
just watch the 8 episodes. Then you'll watch the anime, which is like, yeah.
If I can get the
by me saying that, like, if you watch the live action, you'll probably want to watch the anime and probably talk yourself of watching the first like 52 episodes, and then you'll just talk yourself into watching a few hundred more, and then you'll just get into it. Like it's a very good likelihood, but that's because it's a fucking amazing show. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
All right, moving on.
All right. The next category is Best Superhero Show. And tonight's nominees are Gen V, Loki, Invincible, and Secret Invasion. And the winner is...
I will say the nominees, I feel like, are lacking this year. But the winner is obviously Gen V, season 1.
Right.
It's a great TV show. It's a great spinoff, and honestly, you can watch it on your own. The premise doesn't seem like it's going to be that great because it very much is like X-Men Mansion, superhero Sky High. Like, hey, we have superhero college here, learning to do their powers, but it's like set in the boys' world. Like some of the classes is like managing your media account. Like it's like those type of, it's like superheroes in the boys universe. It's not necessarily like, hey, how do you like rescue people the best? No, it's how do you look the best, right? And they have like a ranking system too. And here's the thing, they barely touch upon any of it. And I was intrigued on that aspect alone. But like there's a murder mystery that's not a murder mystery. There's like a mystery of like missing students. It starts out hot. Like there's a lot of, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just such a good written show, you know? And it like incorporates the boys in such a great way, but not enough to like take away from the characters that are in this show. And now I'm looking at The Boys season 4, and I'm excited for like which characters get integrated into the show. And I feel like they're worthy of the introduction.
Interesting. I really do need to watch it because I freaking loved the first. I love The Boys. That show's fantastic.
It is, and Gen V is very much like The Boys season 3.5. Like it's the same quality.
Okay.
So, Loki season 2 deserves an honorable mention. The ending of it is really good. I talk about it. The ending basically makes up for the rest of the season. There's one other episode in the 6-episode order that it's the second episode that I was like really intrigued in. Like I got into the Green State. It was Loki being bad Loki again, like an interrogation scene. And there's like moments where him and Loki and Mobius, Owen Wilson, they're just eating pie in a room, just talking. Like it's very much more of a TV show this season. And they're just talking for a good like 2-3 minutes, maybe more. Feels like it's like 10 minutes. And I just effing loved it. I don't know why. Just Loki just talking about him taking over New York and like why he did it in such a casual way, while Mobius talks about why he wants to be on a jet ski. I don't know why. Like it's just like I'm here for it. I'm here for like these two just in a room talking. I don't know. And it's funny because I looked at a post making fun of that scene, or maybe it was a YouTube show. Like, oh, all they do is talk, talk, talk. It's like, nah, it's fun. It's good. I'm happy Loki season 2 embraced the fact that it's a, actually I think it's honest trailers that I watched and they're making fun of that scene. I'm like, no, that's like one of the better scenes. Simply because it's a TV show. They embrace the fact that they're a TV show, not a mini movie or a larger movie.
That is one of the problems with the Plus verse right now. I do think. Right,
Invincible season 2 is like worthy of mentioning. Secret Invasion, no,
just a hard no.
No. All right, moving on.
All right, you want me to hit the next topic?
Yep.
All right. And best superhero movie. Tonight's nominees: Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Across the Spider-Verse, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and The Marvels. And tonight's winner is...
Yeah, this one's still Across the Spider-Verse.
Yep, yeah, I agree. Wait, well, I feel like Guardians... I feel like... but yeah.
Yeah, this movie's all about like hundreds of, Spider-Man superheroes saving the day and what it means to save the day.
That's true. It's a really cool deconstruction of Spider-Man as a character.
It's like deconstructing in the right way.
Yeah.
Like every character feels like who they're supposed to be. It's not deconstructing like, oh, Superman's edgy now. No. I know I just didn't give Last of Us award for newest show. I feel like newest show is hard. I kind of push back on newest show because it's new, but it's not new. That makes sense. I guess I get that. I get One Piece is also very much the same way. So I don't know. It's hard to give Across the Spider-Verse not the best fight. I know I'm contradicting myself, but yeah, Across the Spider-Verse is the best superhero show. It just is. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the same reason why best nerd movie. Yeah, it's the same reasons.
I can get it. In this case, it definitely just makes a lot of sense for Spider-Verse to get it. It really does. I guess it's just the deconstruction of it, or discuss at least a really interesting character study of what Spider-Man should do here. Kind of thing. So
I love that movie. I've watched that movie 4 or 5 times now.
I've only seen it once, but it was a joy to watch.
It's a it's a movie that Scott always wants to watch,
and you're like,
and
okay.
I'll just watch it. I'm like, it's just great. Sapphire will put it on. It's great. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's give a movie its due.
All right. Best MCU project. Tonight's nominees: Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Ant-Man Quantumania, and Secret Invasion. And the winner is...
It's Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Woohoo! Finally wins!
It deserves to be mentioned. It deserves an award. It's the best MCU project, which, yes, it's its own category.
It definitely shows the pain that Disney's going to have losing James Gunn to the competition.
Yeah, I'm excited for it for DC, though.
Yeah. It'll be nice to see some interesting films from heroes we have not had a reason to care about for a while.
I'm sad that the MCU is just kind of falling down a pit hole, and I'm hoping that they can turn it around and produce, because they have produced great projects since Endgame. Spider-Man No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, Up in the Air, Borderline. Some people disagree, some people do. I think it is great. There's one other movie I'm forgetting, or maybe I'm not. Is it just No Way Home?
I honestly can't.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Never mind. That was I'm wait a second. I just said it. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. There is great projects, and this is one of them. This movie is arguably the greatest Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's probably top 5 and best, maybe top 10. No, definitely top 10. But it's up there. It's one of the best Marvel projects. James Gunn knows how to write characters. It knows how to write it. It wrote a beautiful ending. It's the best project. Season 2 deserves some love. The rest does not.
Yeah, I'm really sad Secret Invasion ended up being garbage.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's move on to the next one.
And best DCEU project: The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Shazam.
This
What
one
are
I kind of go back and forth on this one. I think I'm giving it The Flash.
Ooh, explain, please.
So like I think the movie that's less hated is Blue Beetle. But I don't think it's better. Like I think Flash, there's moments that I freaking enjoyed The Flash, enjoyed the writing of it. I enjoyed just seeing Flash being Flash and Justice League like doing their thing and kind of explaining the lore of that show before getting him to this adventure that he goes on. And the adventure kind of like falls apart. But like it hit those moments where I'm like, oh, this is like what I want from a superhero movie. Like I want to see Flash, Batman, and Wonder Woman like interact as a team together to do something. And I really like the intro scene, and then it pretty much got me hooked into the Barry Allen saving his mother storyline. Even though it's Flashpoint, I know, but it's cool just seeing this character interact with people, and like he comes across as very like an autistic version of Barry Allen almost. But it's cool to see like two Barry Allens interact with each other as different ages, and just seeing like how a character realizes that, hey, I'm annoying, so I'm gonna grow from this because my younger self is annoying me that much. Like it was just fun. Whereas Blue Beetle, Shazam deserve some love for this. They're good products. They're good movies. They're not great. Blue Beetle is kind of just a standalone like superhero movie with some good aspects to it. Shazam was like the best generic movie of all time, but it's still just a generic superhero movie. Like you might as well just have AI write it because that's what it feels like.
Oof.
But like it was, there was like I don't know. Like if I watch a movie just to have fun, it's a fun movie. If you like Shazam, you'll like the movie. But I think The Flash just hit more peaks for me, even though it had more lows. But it had more peaks, so I'm giving it The Flash. But this is very much like in 2025. I hope that this award is like great. Like I hope I can give it to a great project. Whereas I don't think The Flash is. I think it's just like good. Great in moments, meh to trash in others. Oh man, we lost Michael again. I don't know if we're gonna get him back. Welcome, everybody, to Jake's Inner Monologue, where I just talk in circles until Michael gets back. Or maybe. Michael, you're back.
Woohoo! That was weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. I had an inner monologue. I don't know if I'm cutting it or if I'm leaving it. I feel like I'm probably cutting it because I got to the point where I'm like, I don't know what to say anymore.
All right. Do you want to continue the discussion, or should we move on to the next one?
Let's move on to. I think I finished the discussion while you were gone. I think I didn't even realize you were like gone until I finished the discussion. And I looked, I'm like, oh, that's why it's been quiet. He's gone. Okay, I was just talking to myself for the last 2 or 3 minutes. Let's do it. I don't have nominees for the next one, so just say the title and I'll fill it in.
These are the sad DEMAS. Most disappointing show: Secret Invasion. All right.
Oh
Jake,
man, I was gonna say it.
Oh,
It's like, oh boy. All right.
Yeah, do it as monotone
as
possible. I'm gonna do the next one as monotone as possible to really.
The most disappointing show of 2023 is, you already know, Secret Invasion. Because goddamn it was so, man, that broke me. And I didn't even I didn't give any other nominees for this. And I feel like there's some,
There hasn't been all
nominees.
winners. Yeah, yeah.
But like Secret Invasion was the show that I was excited about. I had a whole preview for. I watched the first how many episodes and I was like, oh man, no. Like I'm bored. I don't know what's going on. Everything is gray. The aliens are boring. Like there's a lot of cool actors, but like I don't give a shit about any of these characters. And like this was supposed to be the best show for the MCU. This was supposed to be the big interconnection show. And it seems like they just made it to, how do I say it? They made it because fans wanted it. They didn't make it because they loved it.
No, yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't seen it yet, but that is what I've heard. It's like it's just very. They don't understand what the. They don't understand the heart of the story of Secret Invasion.
No, like they just did the cosmetics of it, and like I know they did that with Civil War. You know, like they took the cosmetics of like the comic where it's Cap versus Iron Man, and then they kind of like twisted the actual like reason why they were fighting. But they stripped the comic and took the aesthetic of it, but they like put and shoved hard into that story. Whereas Secret Invasion, they took the aesthetic of the story, but they didn't fill it with heart. They didn't fill it with soul. They didn't try to make the best TV show ever. They just made a show that made money.
Yeah, that's just ick.
And that's kind of the disappointing, like, this is kind of where we're at with I don't want to get too political in it when it comes to like capitalism and whatnot, but it feels like that's kind of where we're at with a lot of this. Like superhero movies, shows, it milks money, it makes money, but it's showing that like you can't just make a superhero show because that's not what people love.
No, it really isn't.
It's because the characters are amazing. Like people love Spider-Man because we can relate to Spider-Man, and it's a power fantasy, right? Like we want a good power fantasy that we can relate to. That's why people like superhero shows. But it's a good story too on top of it. Whereas like Secret Invasion just like it just felt lazy. Like hey, they're wanting to take over or something and Nick Fury has to stop him and stuff happens and yeah, that's the show. Look, that character has all the powers of all the Avengers. Super Skrulls.
Super Skrulls.
Hey, you remember that person from that movie from a long time ago? They died. It's like that's. You remember that one guy that is like the sidekick to Iron Man? Yeah, he's in the show. He's a bad guy. And that's it. Like that was it. So it was very disappointing. I already had several talks about it. But yeah, that's the most disappointing show.
Right.
Last one.
Last one.
Are you doing it?
Oh, I thought you were doing it. No, I can do it. I was waiting. Okay, I'll do it.
Don't say the answer. I'll say the answer. You just say the. All right.
Most disappointing movie. The loser is.
I don't even know how to say this title. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
All right, Jake, hit me.
Here's the thing. I remember when I first started the show, one of the first episodes, I think this is the second episode, I talked about Marvel. We rated all of Marvel. And I talked about Ant-Man, my preview for Ant-Man, and my excitement for it. Not because I'm like, I love Ant-Man or anything, and not because I think Ant-Man should be a character that really needs to be a big event. But this was the movie that brought King the Conqueror. This is the movie that puts the next Thanos on the board. And you'd think that this movie would be great, right? Like this would be the next tentpole film. This is the movie that rights the ship. We struggled with phase 4, but hey, we're going to start out phase 5 strong. Nope.
I didn't even realize they were on Phase 5 until you said that. I thought they were still Phase 4 right now.
We're on phase 5, and it
Oh,
starts
that's not
off.
good.
And here's the thing: Kang was great, but like, don't take what was supposed to be the next Thanos and then have him in a movie where he gets beat by fucking Ant-Man.
Yeah, no.
Like, if you want to set up Kang for being the next big baddie, and we're not even getting into Jonathan Majors as like, we're not getting into Jonathan Majors as like his whole actor dilemma. We're not talking about that. Just setting up the character Kang, who already had set up, right? He was like basically the reason why Loki was good. Great, maybe. For like season 1.
Maybe.
He was like the reason why it became good to great because of his performance in that show. And his performance was great in this movie. But this was supposed to be our Thanos intro moment. You know? Like our big this is the first time Avenger runs with a big bad. And this movie sets up a really cool premise with the Ant-Man lore. This is also a trilogy ender, right? We just like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, best MCU project.
Mhm.
Why? Why is it the best project? Because it wrapped up a trilogy. It wrapped up the characters. You know what this movie did? It decided to set up this really interesting premise for the. It decided to set up a Cassie Lang, or no, let's start Scott Lang, right? Hero. He's now like a hero in the spotlight. He's writing books. You know, like he's essentially like a figurehead without really being a hero anymore. That's fascinating. It's unique. Like we haven't outside of like Tony Stark, we haven't really seen superheroes take the limelight for it. And so it's such a unique take. The Wasp, I forget her Hope. Yeah, Hope.
Yep.
She now runs her own business. Interesting. Cassie Lang. Instead of being a hero, she's being a protester. She's getting in trouble. She's getting arrested. She doesn't get along with her dad. There's been a huge time gap between her, her being this cute, lovable kid who loves her dad to this angsty teenager who like disagrees with her dad for reasons, like good reasons. You have Hank Pym, who's like this heavy, this very like straightforward, strict dude going into retirement and loosening up a bit. You have Janet Van Dyne coming back from the quantum realm. You have all these characters dealing with all these things, and they said, you know what? After 5 minutes, fuck it. Let's just take them to the quantum realm. Kang, everybody. And that's like, it's just disappointing because they had a great Ant-Man trilogy, which would have been a fine, good. It would have been a good film, but they decided to do like if they want to do Intro to Kang, maybe don't do Ant-Man. You know?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get
know.
that. I do think. But wait, do you think Spider-Man? Because I feel like Tom Holland's Spider-Man has been like a cornerstone of the MCU through all the stages. Like right when it started to pick up, right at the peak, and then kind of now as it's died. Can Spider-Man as a character and Tom Holland, can they save the MCU with Spider-Man? You know what I mean? Like right now, they need. What I really do think they need to figure something out with Sony because like that is who I feel like their next Tony Stark should be. If they're gonna bring back the Avengers, got it. Like, and they could still set up for like Miles Morales to take over, which I do. Which I'm gonna backtrack really quickly. One thing I really wish we would see with the Spider-Man in the Insomniac games is I really wish Miles from the Spider-Verse films was our Miles in those games because I really like his character. He's like okay in the games, I feel like, but that's another discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm very it's
I will say the Miles Morales, who like is in the universe where Peter dies is far superior than the universe where like they share the role together.
Yes.
And not because I want Peter Parker to die. I just feel like it makes Miles more important. Whereas like when they share a universe together, they're like He's like sidelined almost.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. It's like it's really hard to have there be two Spider-Man. The only thing I've heard is really cool about the second game is like the protege mentor relationship they have.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, we're getting off topic here. But do you think
Mhm.
Spider-Man could save?
The MCU.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with that's a whole new episode. I won't spend too long. If I were Kevin Feige, or if I were to replace Kevin Feige, and I was the one in charge of like what movies were being made, not a job I would want. Like, I would probably say yes to it, but like I would be scared shitless for failing. Like, I'm not dissing Kevin Feige for the job that he has whatsoever. But like, here's the plan of what I would do. I would rein in what movies are being made and rein in like the heroes that we have that can tell that still have great stories to tell. Spider-Man being one of them. I would develop a trilogy, and I would add in Daredevil. I would add in like the grounded New York people to fight Kingpin. I would focus on Doctor Strange and his stories entire. Like, I would take the big pillars that we have, characters that we have, and then tie in little characters from that. Instead of just like, hey, we're gonna make a Moon Knight show. Like, oh, cool, but it has nothing to do with the rest of the universe. Hey, we're gonna make Eternals movie that has nothing to do with the rest. Like, no, like, I'm gonna bring these characters in through characters we already know and establish.
Okay.
And we're not going to oversaturate the market with like mediocre shows. We're going to tell great stories. Like, we're not telling the story unless it's great.
Okay.
And so I would rein it back a bit and focus on telling great stories rather than just telling stories. Because
for sure.
It's, yeah, like Marvel's feeling like comics, but I think like the downside of like the comics aspect of it is like, you have to shift to a lot of shit. And that's kind of comic books. There's a lot of mid stuff. As the kids say it, mid. There's a lot of mid comics. There's a lot of mid stories out there. And MCU is becoming mid.
Yeah, they definitely need something to shock the system for sure.
And DCU is also what has been like that for the last decade. It's been mid.
It'll be good for them. James Gunn will, I think, take them in a very positive direction.
Oh, yeah. I am so excited.
I think he'll bring a human element to it that they have been lacking. But anyways,
let's wrap up a bit.
Final discussion point for the night, Jacob.
Yep.
How do you feel this year was for nerds?
Yeah, so I want to tell in the frame of Don't Evolve Me. And I kind of want to lead into like what's next for Don't Evolve Me too, because this is the wrap up show. This is the Don't Evolve Me wrap up show. I enjoyed this year. I did, and I feel like in some ways I'm disappointed in a lot of like. I say I'm disappointed in the MCU. I'm disappointed in the DCEU, and DCU is now crumbling and is now basically dying, right? It's on its deathbed.
I think that's probably the most appropriate. Yeah.
MCU is crumbling. It looks like it's about. It looks like we're getting to the end game, pun intended. And you see it in these shows, and there's a lot of disappointment there. But I will say, and I'm looking at my list of like shows that get me excited. Right, Last of Us. That was such a great time. Reviewing that show with you. And I'm excited for season 2. And that's probably going to be season 3 of our show when it comes out. I'm excited for it. Super Mario Bros. Reviewing that. Dungeons and Dragons. Like, those are some fun. Like, I didn't expect those movies to be great. Shows like Twisted Metal. When we did our video game adaptation, like, I watched that not thinking it was going to be good. And then being pleasantly surprised. One Piece is another show that like I didn't expect to get into as much as I did. So in ways I'm disappointed in 2023 as a nerds, but there is some really good highlights that I want to point out. And also just the fact that like we did get delayed because of the writer's strike. And I'm happy that they won out and I'm happy they got everything. It does suck from like my perspective that there isn't like anything more to. It delays reviewing, and season 2 is going to be interesting because I feel like there's going to be a lot less stuff to go through.
I do have
So
a idea for you. I'll message you about after the show.
please do. So yeah, 2023. I don't know where I'd rank it in scale. I have no idea what I would rank it. But I think there's definitely some pleasant surprises. Video games, there's some great video games this year. Tears of the Kingdom was great. Baldur's Gate 3. I'm excited for when I finally can sit down and just enjoy the game. I'm thinking Christmas break. Spider-Man 2 I'm excited for. Tears of the Kingdom was just a great game. Yeah. I think it was a fine year for nerds. And I thought it could have been a lot worse. Things to look for 2025. I think that's or 2024.
You're skipping a year.
I am.
You're just like, I just want to play GTA 5, so we're not doing 2024.
I'm trying to think like 2024 what I'm looking into. Deadpool 3 is definitely going to be one of those movies that I'm going to be ramping up for. Avatar comes out in February. That's a show that I am getting geared up. I think in January I'm going to start rewatching
the
that
live
anime
action.
show.
Yeah.
I have 2 people joining me for weekly reviews. You feel free to join if you feel strongly for Avatar. I think I'm just gonna say remote. Everyone, we're just doing remote for some of these reviews. Do you, like, what's the next step for Don't Involve Me?